What kind of cargo forces seals to hit the ground minutes after a cargo jet is shot down by 5 Eagle missiles? If your answer is routine packages, think again. In this video, we unpack the forensic trail from the wreckage to 11 crates of stolen US tech, encrypted radar microchips and jammers. Then follow the money across 4 countries to a Venezuelan officer's account. The payoff: proof this was a state-enabled threat, not a random cartel strike, and why the US moved to collapse 12 funding pipelines worth roughly $48 million. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. A UPS MD-11 drops off the scope near Venezuela. 3 separate networks light up at once. Why would sea radar, space-based infrared, and coastal acoustic arrays all agree on a hostile launch within minutes? The downing starts with 5 Eagle-class infrared seekers rising off the coast and finding a heat target at cruise altitude over international waters. The cockpit stops responding. The transponder quits. ATC can't raise the crew, and the last altitude readout freezes as the aircraft begins to break apart. The debris field tightens into a compact oval, too clean for a fuel-air detonation or an onboard fire. At first, controllers talk about a possible mechanical issue or a fuel imbalance. That theory fades when the spread of fragments lands in a tight radius, more consistent with multiple external strikes than a single catastrophic failure. A US destroyer riding the southeastern corridor brings its active electronically scanned array to bear and cuts through the usual Caribbean heat clutter. The display pulls thermal plumes off the shoreline, tracking 5 arcs lifting through crosswinds. The radar tags each plume with velocity gates and plots burn signatures that do not match civilian activity. The ship's watch team forwards the tracks to the regional center, and the alert cascades through the network. Overhead, reconnaissance satellites catch the same sequence as synchronized infrared blooms. The timing between launches lines up within seconds, and the heat curves match known man-portable propellant profiles. On partner shores, coastal sensor arrays feel concussive waves roll across the water, and the waveform analysis points to short-burn boosters rather than a single heavy system. That third layer pins the origin to a strip of coast already flagged for mobile launch activity in recent weeks. Think of it like 3 clocks striking the same hour in the same room. The shipboard radar paints the arcs. The satellite sees the fire at ignition. The coastal arrays hear the punch of the launch. When all 3 align, guesswork shrinks from minutes to seconds. The operations center has enough to move a classification from possible to probable. Automated tools pull in heat curves, debris spread, and transponder loss timing. Then compare them to a library of missile signatures. The match lines up with a specific family of IR-guided systems, and the system flags secondary heat markers that suggest multiple shooters, not a single errant battery. With the threat validated, the posture flips. Incident response procedures step aside for combat operations. Air lanes close, diverting civilian traffic out of the sector. A strike package readies on short notice, and Tomahawk tubes come to life as the command builds options. The standing plan for regional defense centers on rapid containment and recovery, and the communications net tightens to a single operational picture shared from the bridge to the National Command Authority. The name attached to the action will come up again: Operation Iron Response. So how did US sensors see an attack this fast, and why did the accident theory collapse? Because a layered net, shipboard radar cutting through heat clutter, IR eyes in orbit, and coastal arrays listening for shock, converged on 5 infrared launches from shore, fired in sequence, and tracked into the same sky where an American cargo jet went silent. That convergence removed ambiguity and activated the playbook built for a hostile strike outside territorial airspace. A jet is down, the kill chain is green, and airspace is tightening by the minute. The next move reaches off the shoreline and onto the ground. Now the question tightens with it. What inside that coastal belt is so valuable that it brings boots into a compound before sunrise? What forces special operators into a cartel compound before sunrise? Not parcels, payloads. Operation Response spins up 22 minutes after impact. The first Tomahawk slams a fuel farm and turns the compound's night into a firelit maze. The second drops a radio tower, cutting local comms. 2 more carve escape lanes into dead ends, throwing debris across access roads. Rotor noise creeps in low. Two CH-47F Chinooks push under cloud, riding nap of the earth to keep heads down and radar returns thin. Ramps hit dirt. SEALs fan out through diesel smoke with M4A1S, M141 launchers slung, comms hot, medkits taped, and more than enough ammunition for a short, sharp fight. Contact is immediate. Irregulars shoot from windows and truck beds. The SEALS break angles. Put controlled bursts on heavy positions and punch a bunker with a single M141 shot. 12 minutes and 40 seconds later, the shooting slows to scattered pops and then stops. The team clears courtyards, cuffs survivors, and pushes straight to the buildings flagged by overhead tasking. Time is the enemy. Intel says a stash moved in the last day. If it leaves again, motive and means vanish with it. Inside, rooms line up like a warehouse gutted for speed. Heat-shielded crates stacked too high, edges charred, labels scorched off, cereals ground to moonscapes. A handheld jammer sits on a workbench, still warm to the touch. Battery bay clean and swapped recently. The signal profile matches interferers recorded near the jet before it went silent. On the floor, someone dragged a crate and left a groove in the dust toward a rear door. A second team cuts that path, intercepts two men, and pulls a key ring with tags that match the crate locks. Evidence teams begin their run. Fragment bags from the crash site meet fresh pieces found in a tool room. Fin sections, wiring looms, and scorched seeker parts. Forensic techs swab residue and get chemical signatures that line up with known propellant lots from an EGLA production run. Database checks point to a batch that crossed 4 borders under watch for months. Serial remnants, faint under the grinding, still line up with entries maintained by monitoring groups. The tracks form a corridor, not a one-off street buy. Then the find that explains the rush. 11 crates open to foam trays holding encrypted microchips built for naval radar arrays. Each module sits in anti-static clamshells, connectors capped, and firmware blocks sealed. Nearby, compact communications jammers fit into rugged cases with antenna whips taped down. The design targets drone links and air-to-sea networks, the very nervous system that protects ships and patrol aircraft. A crate manifest in a desk drawer is fake on its face, but a back folder holds procurement sheets, QR codes for chain of custody, and invoice stamps from shell companies no one in the room recognized. Digital kits come out. Laptops pull imaging from seized phones, then jump to a hardline cut from an office router. Logs show chip encryption tries against US vendor keys. A blocked chain of custody entry pairs with a reported theft stateside. A flash drive holds spreadsheets with bank names and wire notes. The path bounces Panama, then Curacao, then Cyprus. One recurring reference number sits next to each hop like a breadcrumb. The last ledger line points to a single account that keeps surfacing in parallel databases. So what flipped the switch 22 minutes after the jet went dark? A validated hostile launch and a standing plan to recover stolen US tech. The raid nets 11 crates of high-grade microchips and jammers, pulls live jammers off benches, and locks down documents that explain how those parts moved. The gear is the motive. Now the trail needs a name, a signature, and the rank behind the wires. The wire map snaps into focus when one reference number repeats across hops. Forensics tie that ID to an account controlled by a Venezuelan military officer. Missile fragment analysis and ledger pulls land on the same node, shifting the strike from cartel muscle to a state-enabled operation moving stolen US defense tech through offshore brokers and shells. So here's the question. If 12 pipelines worth about $48 million can move missiles and microchips, what do you shut first? Banks, shells, or the officials signing wires? The firefight ended with the strike. The reckoning starts with audits. Want the full ledger and a sanctions map? Tell us where to dig next.